My name is Christy Soriano Nocita. I work for the University of Washington Student Engagement Office. I oversee the Child Care Assistance Program, first generation, and I also do budgetary support for the entire program of student engagement. I also work on student of concern and student conduct. My title is program support supervisor.
College did you first attend?
Edmonds Community College.
So what were some setbacks or obstacles you faced in college?
One, understanding the language and the terminology, and then also feeling like I didn't belong and that I wasn't smart enough. And childcare. I didn't really have someone to take care of my daughter. And then I just had a feeling that I wasn't enough. Like, that was all internal, but it always, for me, it was like I would look around and I'd hear everyone talk about their experiences in high school, and I just felt like it wasn't the same experiences that I had, and I hadn't seen anybody with the same experiences that I had, so I just didn't think I was good enough. So mostly the barriers were me, one, and then two, navigating through the system, like understanding like what I needed to transfer to a four-year university, what I needed to actually graduate, what I needed to get financial aid once the scholarship was over. And I didn't even reckon, like, no one had even told me that after the scholarship, or in addition to the scholarship, I could have applied for financial aid. So it was, for me, like, it was just, I was like, this is so expensive to have to pay for books and materials and then gas, because I didn't know that there was financial aid available.
What was your major in college?
So it changed multiple times. So initially, when I was at Edmonds Community College, my family was like, "Oh, you should be a nurse," and that's not uncommon from a Filipino family. The healthcare field for them was their way for social mobility, also their way to kind of get to America, because I guess in the 70s or the 60s, and there were programs to come to America because they were in need of those in the medical field. So for them, they had this idea that if you were in the medical field, you would be successful. And they're also they didn't think that women could be doctors. So they had assumed that the only position I could have in the medical field was a nurse. So I tried my best to like get into the nursing program, right? But because I didn't have that great foundation, I didn't get into the program. And what I mean by great foundation is my K through 12 experience as far as academics wasn't strong. So basic math, I couldn't even do. So I kept failing biology and all the like math courses, and I couldn't get into the program. So it was taking me like 4 years just to do basic courses. I couldn't get into there. And then people had said that I spoke. No, not people. My mom said I was good at yelling at her and arguing with her.
Yeah.
So she was like, you should be a lawyer. You talk too much and you think you know everything. And so I thought I could be a lawyer. And so I went into political science and philosophy. And that's essentially what I got my undergrad in. And then I did an internship as a state Senate intern over in Olympia. And it was too competitive, and that's not my nature. And I couldn't get into law school, so it kind of led me into education, kind of being at the right place at the right time. So for example, I actually did IT work over at the education center at JVLM, and they called it the Technical Academic Resource Center, and I wasn't really good at that. But what I was really good at was like teaching people and helping people, and customer service. So my leader or supervisor noticed that, and sort of put me in different areas within the education center, and that was like my first like step into higher ed. And then once I became a testing administrator, and so I would give exams like the GMAT, and like IT exams like CISSP, A+ certification. This language might be foreign to you. But I did that. And then I had the opportunity to go to South Korea and become an academic advisor. And this was all with an undergraduate degree. So I'm kind of showing like my journey along the way. and I happened to be at the right place at the right time, and there was a remote site that needed a site director. So on top of being an academic advisor, I became the site director for Camp Hovi, which is in Area 1 in South Korea, and I was able to oversee an entire education center with 3 counselors on a front desk. And so just being at the right place at the right time and like having that confidence kind of helped me get that position and in being in higher ed. And remember, I didn't have any higher ed experience or undergrad experience. So I guess it just happened naturally.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then furlough happened in 2013, and my position and that education center closed down. So we came back here to JBLM, and I couldn't get a job. No, I really couldn't.
Yeah.
Because here I had this, like, I had 8 years of experience in higher ed, but I didn't have the credentials to compete, right? Because there were others that also had that experience, but they also had their masters. So there were a couple of months where I was unemployed, and I had to be like, okay, what do I need to do? And it was get your master's. And I thought, okay, well, I like teaching, and so I might as well get my master's in education. And I wanted to do 8th grade through 12th grade. I couldn't, again, the math was challenging, and to be a certified educator or teacher in the state of Washington, you need to pass a bunch of like tests, and I couldn't pass one of them, which is just called the West B, the math portion. So UW being UW and great as they are, they were like, well, we can keep you in the program conditionally, but you have to pass this. Well, a year went by and I still couldn't pass the test. So they were like, okay, what do you like? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? Who do you want to be your faculty advisor? And so I kind of did some soul searching, and I interviewed a lot of professors and tried to find an advisor. And I found that I was currently working in student life in Gerberding as a student employee, and I really enjoyed student affairs. And so, but I also the tempo and the climate for racial equity and was big for me, and so I wanted to work with an educator that was at the forefront of their work. And so I ended up going to UW Bothell to work under Wayne Au and Jane Van Galen, who her work is digital stories and first generation students. So I ended up going over there because I wanted to work under them, and that is where I got my master's of education.
What do you know now that you wish you would have known in college?
Everyone has their own journey, and not to compare yourself. And that every day is a step closer to where you want to be. And that you might not see the rewards now, or you might not see a great reward now, but all that hard work will be there. Like that, if you work hard now, it's gonna happen. It's inevitable. It will happen. But you gotta work hard.